and Market Tarmac on Sunday, February 20th, 2022. Come out and support our local farmers. Get fresh fruits and vegetables, meat and other agri products. Don't miss this perfect opportunity to get high-quality fresh produce at unbeatable prices. See you there at the Farmers Market.
This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio, 99.1 FM.
Good evening, my name is Amrita Koshal and this is your nightly newscast. Without further ado, let's get to the news in detail. Guyana is looking for an accelerated exploration program, not just in the Stabroek block as the operator, but in the other oil blocks too. This comes as Esso's parent company looks to invest more in Guyana with the right policy direction. These were among the assertions outlined yesterday at the opening of the International Energy Conference being held at the Marriott Hotel. Vice President Barrett Jagdeo dealt with Guyana's oil and gas policy, noting that despite shortcomings in Guyana's regime with regard to its structures, frameworks, and regulations in place for the industry, the developments in the industry must continue in an accelerated manner. Jagdeo's remarks came amid heightened calls for ExxonMobil to give this country's full coverage insurance to protect it in the event of an oil spill. Also, citizens have been demanding a renegotiation of the contract the government of Guyana signed with ExxonMobil. Addressing the stakeholders, he conceded that Guyana has not as yet been able to evolve its policy, regulatory, and other required structures in a mature manner. And on that note, we now tell you when it comes to the oil and gas sector, Guyanese should not be tenants in their own country, but should instead tap into the growing opportunities flowing from the industry. This is according to the Barbados Prime Minister, Mia Mottley, who on Tuesday addressed the International Energy Conference and Expo. Following his perusal of the government's local content targets included in its legislation, Co-Director of Energy at America's Market Intelligence, Arthur Deakin, is of the firm belief that Guyana has still fallen short of outlining realistic procurement, training, and employment goals for oil companies. Meanwhile, President Ali on Tuesday also told the dozens of foreign investors present that while the country welcomes international partners, they must also consider oil locals. Moving on, President of Suriname, Chandrika Prasad Santokhi, has urged this country's leaders to ensure that its newfound oil wealth benefits all Guyanese and to secure for the future generations. He acknowledged that both Guyana and Suriname are on the path of development towards a sustainable economy that will make the transition from carbon-based energy to green energy. Moreover, the Surinamese leader explained that he is certain that both Guyana and Suriname can aid in mitigating global energy poverty, which he says makes it difficult for almost 1 billion people to develop productive livelihoods. Even as the Surinamese head of state urges Guyana to save its oil resources, it must be noted that the government has already, quote-unquote, raided the Natural Resources Fund of $126 billion to supplement its recently approved budget. Moving on, the government currently has a number of offshore oil blocks still available in the country's offshore exclusive economic zone, with which it is looking at ways of utilizing. Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Barrett, while addressing delegates gathered at the Marriott Hotel for the International Energy Conference and Expo 2022, announced that there is an interest by companies to return to exploring Guyana's Takatu Basin in Region 9, some 2 hours from the Brazilian border, and disclosed that the administration has been in receipt of expressions of interest with a view to resuming oil exploration onshore Guyana and is mulling the establishment of a national oil company using the remaining oil blocks. Minister Barrett also noted that Guyana is on the verge of becoming one of the largest oil producers per capita. Time check for you, 19 hours 5. We will return with more news for you shortly after the break.
Nothing in life is free, but the MyDigiCell app is. You don't need to be on a data plan to use the app. You can conveniently chat with Ruby or an agent for help. Check your account balance, activate a Prime bundle, or gift it to a friend. Send credit. Check the Georgetown and Burpees Bridge schedules. Activate a roaming plan. Play Shake to Win for cool prizes. So don't worry about a data plan, buddy. Download the MyDigiCell app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store today. Digicel, better together.
And now back with more news in detail. A pioneering venture between 3T Enermec and Orunduk Development Incorporated Training Center will deliver Guyana's first in-country state-of-the-art training facility for the local workforce, supporting the development of the country's fast-growing offshore oil and gas sector. This venture will provide an industry-leading and internationally accredited facility in alignment with building on the recently enacted local content policy. Located in Lusignan, the companies said over $20 million has been invested into the infrastructure. In other stories, 39-year-old Viroy Isaacs was remanded to prison when he made his first court appearance for allegedly raping a minor whom he had taken on a fishing trip. The defendant, who speaks the Arakuna dialect, appeared in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts and was not required to plead to the indictable offense, which alleges that between January 1st, 2020 and December 31st, 2020 at Camarang River, Upper Mazaruni, he engaged in sexual activity with a child under the age of 16, whom he took on a fishing trip to Camara Creek, and while there on a rock in the river, he allegedly raped her. It was further stated that the child confided in her mother, who then confronted Isaacs before she reported the matter to the police. An investigation was launched, and the defendant was later arrested and charged for the offense. The chief magistrate remanded Isaacs to prison, and the matter was adjourned to March 14th, 2022. On that note, we finally tell you embattled former teacher of the Bishop's High School, Cohen Jackson, faced the judge and jury in the Georgetown High Court to answer to 4 counts of sexual activity with an underage girl. Jackson pleaded not guilty to the charges before Justice Priyasunarayan Bihari and the mixed 12-member jury. It was revealed that Jackson engaged in sexual activity with an underage girl by abusing a position of trust. The indictment specified that he committed the offenses on 4 occasions during February, March, April, and May of 2011. The charges were first instituted against Jackson in March 2018, and the teacher had faced a preliminary inquiry before a city magistrate in May 2018, and then was committed to stand trial for the offense in the High Court. The magistrate had determined that there was sufficient evidence made out against Jackson to face a trial by jury. Time check for you, 19 hours 9. My name is Amrita Koshal, and thank you for listening to your nightly newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
GHK Lal on Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM. Welcome to the Wednesday, February 16th edition of the National Outlook. It's midweek. We are moving along in the month and in the week. Government borrows to fund small renewable energy projects, but takes oil money to build gas plant at Wales. Exxon to be repaid for pipeline with crude from Stabroek Block. I mean, I would think that we'd want to go slowly with this gas to shore. Get an authoritative feasibility study done, one that has credibility, and put it before the Guyanese people for the biggest, costliest project that will that has, up to date, has come before us. Almost $2 trillion. And that's before factoring cost overruns and whatever else. Okay. You're borrowing to fund small renewable energy projects. But you're taking oil money to fund, to build this gas pipeline, this expensive gas pipeline, which is a mystery and shrouded in secrecy, and of which we really haven't gotten a clean bill of goods on it, because the government and the vice president have been so controlling, keeping things. What wisdom do they have that we don't have? What can he know when he doesn't have a feasibility study? But I want to take this to a different place here today, because it says Exxon to be repaid for pipeline with crude from Stabroek Block. And right away I will tell you this. I think I detect two opportunities for cons, for trickery, for deception, and for robbery. Let me tell you how. First, we were told that gas will be servicing the local, and there was some back and forth on what's going to be done with the excess gas. Then we hear about Guyana and supplying the region. Well, what about Trinidad? Trinidad has got a lock on that, and it's got a lock on that for years and decades. So that's out of our grasp. Then we heard something about international marketplaces. Now we hear, and all didn't make any sense and didn't add up. Now we hear Exxon to be repaid for a pipeline with crude from Stabroek Block. And keep focused on what I said about two cons. We are never going to be in a position to know with conviction how much Exxon really repaid itself, how much equivalent in gas it really repaid itself. So there's an opportunity there for thievery. And we will never know, given all the secrecy that prevails in this country, how much of what is stolen by Exxon in that gas, and they will steal it, ends up in the hands and in the pockets of the PPPC government. How much ends up in the pockets of its leaders? I mean, they're not the most principled people in the world, by far from it. So therefore, we have two loopholes there in whatever arrangement it is. Forget about what's on paper. This thing is happening 120 miles out at sea. Do you know anything, my fellow Guyanese? Do I know anything about what the real, accurate story of what is happening? We don't. We don't. We don't have cameras. We don't have meters. Not yet. We're getting there. And we don't know who's going to police those things and what kind of people they're going to have there. It's going to be party flakes and hacks who will sell us a bill of goods, who will sell us a pig in a bag, who will lie to us and deceive us more. So when we talk about repayment, there's a whole world of murkiness